Maybe I'll try to do it word for word, really make it difficult for you. Hey, I'm Dan Rowe, and welcome to my fish room. I do rainbow fish, a little bit of Corridoras, a little bit of plecos, and a bit more plants. Dabble in aquascaping, and do the best with what I can with the space I'm provided. So I got my 16-foot wall that the wife has graciously allowed me to put whatever I want on it, and hopefully I don't flood the basement too much.
So what's this first tank we got here?
This first tank, rainbow fish, Bosmani, Lake Atinjo. Mostly males, but a couple females in there. Hopefully going to breed them long term because I would like to have more of them in the tank. But for now, we're going to go with what we got. We got some long-finned bristlenose plecos in there, and a couple of panda corridoras as well.
Right.
With one of them's got a long fin gene in it, so maybe we'll try to breed them long term. I don't know.
Nice.
For now, we're going to start with the rainbows and just
rainbows.
Try breeding the rainbows. Not
Java ferns.
Java ferns.
Breed the rainbows in the Java ferns.
Do not breed the rainbows in the Java ferns.
No.
No. What I'll do when I breed the rainbows is I'll probably pick the pair or trio or a couple of pairs that I want to focus on, drop them down to one of the 40s down below, throw some spawning mops in there, feed them like crazy, and pick eggs for a couple of weeks.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the Java fern. What kind of driftwoods we got in here?
So we got ourselves some manzanita.
And manzanita.
Not just any old manzanita.
Watch out, the internet's triggered.
Uh-oh.
This was responsibly sourced manzanita,
sir? I would imagine it is responsibly sourced. I'm taking it on Tom Barr's word that this is responsibly sourced. So we had a whole bunch of local hobbyists that were enamored by the twisted gnarled wood that he is able to provide to our aquatic community, and so we brought ourselves in a couple of pallets, shared it amongst the local hobbyists, and this is what I've got left, and there's another pile in the back of the room that might make its way into some other fish rooms coming up quickly, because now I'm digging the Dutch-ish style tank.
Nice.
For plants.
All right, substrate. What kind of substrate we got in here?
All right, what we've got, pool filter sand, a little bit of gravel on top for decoration, make it look like a riverbed, some round river rock, and that is it. Not planning on doing anything in the substrate as far as planting is concerned here. Ideally, long term, I want to let this Java fern creep over most of this, and so it will have some real nice dark areas underneath, light areas, so when the fish go in and out, it's really going to highlight them as they pop into the sunlight.
Right. Nice. Lights. What kind of lights we got?
We've got some 20-watt LED floods going on here. I'll blind the camera real quick.
Bazowie.
So these things are awesome. I love them. Little bit of fair warning, not all of them work for all that long. However, I have found that using LE power, they have, so I bought 8 of them to start. I had 2 of them fail on me in the first 6 months, which was a little bit of a bummer. Reached out to them and they replaced them, essentially no questions asked. So I have typically not had that sort of response with some of the lower price point lights and other equipment pieces in the past, but was very pleased that they sent over some new ones and I replaced them. So they're pretty close to the typical, what you would consider daylight spectrum of the somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 Kelvin. Doesn't really mean much for the plant growth, but it's more for personal viewing, kind of like that midday sunlight. It's not bright white, it's not too orangey like we're getting around sunset. It's not pink like you're doing a grow light for tomatoes in your basement.
We gotta watch out for those tomato growers. Tomatoes in the basement, we gotta watch out for those guys.
So this tank right here, this is my temporary rehabilitation busted tank, aquascape tank thing. Tank next to it, nicely aquascaped. Started leaking earlier this week, had to tear it down. Decided I would do a little collectoritis thing, take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I moved it over, brought it in here. There's anything from some really hardy, hard to kill plants, like the Hygrophila deformis, which is better known as the water sprite, to a little more demanding plants, Rotala wallichi here. it will survive in here, but it's probably not going to thrive, and that's not the long-term plan for it. Ideally, reseal that tank, get everything set back up, bring the harder to care for plants over there, keep this fairly easy, low light, water sprite, some rotalas in there, you got some pearlweed in the corner, lots of different Ludwigias in here, and of course everyone's favorite low light plants that are not ferns and anubias, the crypts. So I got some oddball crypts in here, metallic red, Aphanus metallic red over here, and on the far side is the crypt cordata siamensis. Other than that, you know, I've kept the Wentiais, I've kept, whether it be the bronze or any of the odd color variants out there, all the way down to the little parvas. Not keeping them right now, but long term, with this being a lower light tank, it's going to work out great for doing crypts and things like that. Other than that, in here I've got a lot of these 3D printed ledges that are holding moss and some really, really small anubias. If you guys have seen the Pangolino before, you'll see that it's on the back ones, and they are not even, the entire plant, 6-7 leaves, is not even the size of your pinky fingernail. So those have some more growing out. I got them from a tissue culture. Some of the ones that I have been growing out for about a year longer are right here on this sledge, and they're quite a bit bigger, but still smaller than the even the Anubias Nana Petite that you've seen around, where the leaves are maybe the size of your pinky fingernail. Here, they're not even a third of that, just a sliver. Like, think about it. Yeah, just little guys.
What fish are supposed to be in here?
So the fish that are supposed to be in here actually are in here.
Okay.
So we've got the Millennium Rainbow, which are the red boys, and I do say boys because they're all boys, which is a little unfortunate. Would like to breed them long term. I'm sure I can find a female somewhere at a local shop. So their scientific name is Glossolepis pseudoincisus, and then the other ones are the turquoise rainbows, Melanitania lacustris, and that is definitely some ladies in there, so we'll be able to breed those long term.
Cool. All right, man. Thanks for having us out.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Like this. Go. Later.
Later.